Hi everyone, how are you doing? So I've just been for a long walk in nature, so I'm feeling very nourished and the sun has been shining and the energy today is just amazing. Just amazing. I woke up with the most incredible energy. I did some energy work this morning, which I think helped, cleared a load of stuff, and wow, I felt so naturally high today. I've not had a coffee today, but it feels like I've had a coffee today. I've got my cup of tea with me right now as usual. So I want to talk about this, I think this day, like right now, like where we're at astrologically, where we're at in terms of where we're at this year in 2024. The energy feels really expansive and will continue to feel expansive for those who have done the work. So let's talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about the energy and how this is an energy first reality, listening to our body truth and shadow work. So I'm going to tell you a little story, which I think helps bring this to life. It's a silly example, but it really helped me understand like where I was at on this journey and the work that I had done. So before I tell you this story, if you haven't already got your spot on Quantum Femme, then this is my 3-week feminine embodiment, neuroscience, energetics. We're going to be looking at, we're going to be going into depth into the things I'm going to talk to you about today on this video. I'll put the link in the comments if you haven't already seen that. So we've got week 1 Pleasure Queen, week 2 Shadow Queen, and week 3 Quantum Queen. We're actually going to go in deep with this in this program. And I have announced today I'm opening up just one VIP spot on this to work with me one-to-one and get one-to-one Voxer support with me throughout the whole program as well. So do not miss out on that. If you want to apply for that, please send me a message, as there is just one space available for that. So let's get into one of my favourite topics. Okay, so I met up with a friend a few weeks ago who I have not seen for years and years, and he reached out to me on LinkedIn, which isn't really a platform that I'm really on that often, and said, I've not seen you in years, I really want to meet up. Now my mind was telling me one thing and my body was telling me another. So my mind was saying, you've not seen this guy for years, why would you just meet up with him? Like, I'd suggested a Zoom meetup and he'd said no. He said, I really want to meet up in person. But my mind was saying, yeah, I don't do that. I don't just go to pubs for lunch all the time, like because of the energy mainly. Like, I don't do that. But my body was like, yeah, like I really want to do it. So I was having this kind of conflict at this point between my mind and my body, where my mind was like, yeah, we don't do this kind of thing anymore. Like, we don't go to pubs and drink. We don't go to pubs and have lunch, especially on a Saturday. So I was just really honest with him, and my body was saying yes. So I did it and I continued and I followed that yes. And what was amazing and what was so divinely masculine was that he came to me. He drove about an hour and came to see me. So this was like part of the reason it was giving me a yes, was like I didn't have to drive anywhere or go on public transport or anything like that and then sit in this pub. I could literally walk there like 10 minutes down the road. It was a really beautiful pub with a sea view. So like, I do really like this pub anyway. So if I'm going to go to a pub, so like everything was just like, yes, yes, yes. Then he said, don't worry, I will drive to you. I was like, okay. My body was just like, yes, yes, yes. So I was really honest with him. And I said, look, I'm just going to be completely authentic with you. I will probably reach a limit where I will have to leave. So let's get some food. Let's see how it goes. And maybe we can go for a walk on the beach afterwards. But when I've reached my limit, I'll let you know. And then I will leave and you can come with me or not. So I was really honest. And he said, yeah, that's cool. No problem. I have a limit in other situations. It's like, cool, all right. So he brought along this amazing book about the quantum field, and we had like a proper geek out moment reading that together. We had a lovely lunch, and I then reached a point where the pub was starting to get busy. It was starting to move more into afternoon rather than lunchtime, and there was a lot more drinking going on. There was a lot more noise, and I said to him, I feel like I'm coming up to my limit now. Are you okay if we leave? He said yes, so we grabbed our coats and we went for the most loveliest walk. It was raining and windy, but that doesn't really bother me ever. Just put my hood up, and we went for the most lovely walk along the beach, and then we said goodbye, and I just came home feeling really energized and really lit up. So I followed my body and communicated that the whole way through that process. The whole way through. So even though my mind, so the old version of me would have done the opposite. So the old version of me would have been like, yeah, I'll come to the pub. Yeah, I'll go wherever you want. Yeah, wherever you want, I'll be there. Then I'd end up really burnt out and regret it. So the old version of me would have listened to my mind over my body. But in this instance, my body was actually saying yes. And it's a bit like that song. My mind was actually the one going, really? But I followed my body. So I followed my body to go, and I kind of remade this new connection, this new friend who was an old friend who became like another friend, another new friend. And then I was just really honest about having a limit when I would need to go. And I communicated that, and I spoke that, and he had my back, and we left, and he checked if I was okay, and we left. So this just got me thinking. This was like an example, I guess, of, this is my friend's mug, by the way. My name doesn't begin with N. It's just a really nice China mug to drink out of. So this got me thinking about what was it that enabled me to follow that body truth in me, and that I still continue to follow that body truth in me. So today, another small example of this was I went to meet a friend, and we went to a cafe, we sat outside. It wasn't really that overwhelming, but I knew I woke up this morning with loads of energy coursing through my body, and I knew I needed to move my body. I knew I needed to be out in nature. I knew I needed to get movement. So my friend was saying, it's quite a long walk home. Are you sure you want to walk home? Just let me give you a lift. I'm driving past anyway. Let me give you a lift. And I was like, no, I know I need to move my body. She was like, cool, I hear you. That's fine. So anyway, I was just reflecting on the walk back around what has it taken for me to follow that body truth regardless, and to be able to, and that body truth, someone asked this question the other day, which was like, can you give me tips for energy clearing? Like, what is the best way to clear my energy and protect myself? And one of the things that I said is listen to your body truth, because your body truth will not guide you to situations where you're going to pick up loads of energy. And this is where, I'm going to get on my high horse a little bit here. This is where we need to change the narrative here around mental health. Because if I'd have simply just listened to the narrative on mental health, I'd be like, oh, I've woken up, I'm feeling some anxiety. Oh, don't worry, Gemma. You're obviously just feeling anxious. You'll be all right when you get there. Like, how many times have we in the past, certainly for me in the past, gaslit ourselves out of a very important message coming into our body? So I talked about this a few times. I won't name the specific festival, but there was a specific festival that I went to, and I woke up that morning feeling really nervous and anxious. And I gaslit myself out of it and said, oh, well, you've just not been to a festival for a few years and you'll be all right when you get there. Like, almost like the voice of a parent. And it was like, no, This is my body telling me the energy is off. So when you get this feeling of like anxiety, it is not anxiety, it's not a mental health issue, right? And the kind of mainstream standard advice is, oh, just do that thing and then you'll feel better. No, you won't. The likelihood is you'll do that thing and then you'll get loads of entity attachments, like in extreme cases, right? This was me at this festival. So when we follow that body truth, it doesn't take us into situations where we're going to need to clear our energy so much, or where we're going to need to protect ourselves, because our body ultimately knows. And this could even be like walking down the street. I'm walking down the street, I know I need to go to a shop, and then I'm like, right, body, shall we go in that shop today, or should we go in that shop today? And body's just like, no, I'm just feeling like this little shop. Let's just go in, get what we need and come out. Other days, it might be like, there's something in that shop, or there's a person. I had this we've got this beautiful, beautiful local town where I love to go, and like the charity shops are really quite high vibe. And I was pulled into one of the charity shops, and it had some amazing things in it. And the lady behind the till, we started chatting, and then she said, can I have a business card? Like, we came around to the subject of work, and she said, I think I want to work with you. So like my body was pulling me towards that shop, and she was having a break from her career, and she was helping out in this charity shop. So your body will always take you where you need to be when you can slow down enough to listen to it, and when you can slow down enough to realize and not gaslight yourself out of it, and to just tell yourself it's, you know, it's nerves, and if you do that thing you'll feel better. Like, your body is telling you that for a reason. Okay, so this is where shadow work comes in, because when I was reflecting on this, and I was like, how did I get to this point where I was just listening to my body regardless and being able to communicate that? It is shadow work. So anywhere where I could not, and this is where we go deep around these parts, right? I am not your surface level fluffy person. Like, we go deep, because why would we not? If we are here, and I know if you're here in this group, you want to be your absolute best self, then why would we not go to the levels of depth to do the work that is required to shift, to really shift and grow and develop ourselves? Why would we? This is something I've never understood. Like, why would we not go to the deepest depths of our soul to do the work? And I know for some that's scary, but this life is short. Life is short. Why would we not go to the deepest depths of our soul to be the absolute best we can be, to have businesses that are the best they can absolutely be, and be of service to so many more people, and so many more people in alignment for us? Why would we not go to the depths and do this work? Okay, so anywhere that I was not following my body truth, I did deep shadow work on. Okay, and not only where I wasn't following my body truth, but other elements of authenticity as well. As you know, authenticity is really important to me. And even things like, so this has really helped my hormones recently as well, even things like allowing the anger and the rage to be there and to come out of my body, to allow those parts of myself that I pushed down for so long, that were genuine, authentic parts of me. Because when we think about authenticity, it's not just like who we are today, but it's who we are, well, it is, but it's also who are we at that soul level before we were conditioned out of that in childhood, or before we were traumatized out of that and we developed some kind of trauma response. Okay, so that authenticity is what we are getting back to by doing shadow work. Okay, we're getting back to the soul. We're clearing our aura of the energetic interferences and the wounds. And this is another thing, right? Somebody asked me this question about, how do I protect myself, and do you have any energy clearing tips? And I said, shadow work, shadow work, shadow work. Because if we can clear those energetic wounds, we're not only clearing them from the subconscious mind, which is making a huge difference subconsciously, but we're not only clearing them on a mindset level, we're also clearing them on an energetic level. So firstly, we are actually removing those wounds from our energetic space, from our aura. So we're not getting as many energies coming in and attaching, because they're no longer a vibrational match. So if we've got these shadows and traumas and wounds that we haven't gone into deeply and healed, they will be existing in our field on an energetic capacity. Along comes an energy and goes, oh, hello, you're a resonance to me because you're a deep, dark part, and I'm going to then come in and attach it to this wound, okay? So when we do this work, this isn't just about let's do this healing on our shadows and then we'll all be happy all the time and manifest whatever we want. It's also about not being an energetic resonance to the dark. So shadow work is not just about how do we feel great and manifest all the things that we want. It's also about not being an energetic resonance to the dark, not being an energetic resonance to energies. Because if you are not willing to look at the deepest, darkest parts of your soul, the deepest, darkest parts of your shadows and your psyche, then you will attract like for like. So, example of this, and we're going to be going into this in week 2 of Quantum Femme. Like, we're going to be doing some activities around this, okay? One of the biggest things I see is the empath narcissist dynamic. So if you are operating in a space of over empathy and giving to others, and actually this is the damage of, I'm just going to be really bold today, like this is the damage from a lot of like the Buddhism teachings is love and light to all, okay? If we are operating in that space of over empathy and compassion, they've shown this in research. In Christine Northrup's book, she talks about this. The Buddhist monks got diabetes because they had been so focused on compassion that they had repressed their anger, and that anger was coming out in their blood sugar and was causing them to have diabetes, okay? So if we are in that over empathy side, if we're in the love and light brigade, over compassioning, love and light to all shit, then we're pushing down those parts of us that are genuinely angry, that doesn't, if something happened to us in childhood, we sometimes don't want to forgive that. We can do the healing, we can forgive ourselves, but we sometimes don't want to forgive and love and light over that. And that's okay, because there's genuine justified anger and genuine justified negative emotions that need to come out of the body. Okay, so if we're walking around, and I see this so frequently, if we're walking around with that love and light to all mentality, those deepest, darkest parts of our shadows that want to be angry, that need to release, that want to set boundaries, are going to be attracting narcissists like a moth to a flame. Because what you don't heal when you're in the opposite state is going to be attracting that resonance of energy to your shadows, okay? So as soon as I did this work, as soon as I did this shadow work on what are those deepest, darkest parts of me that after all these years want to be expressed, the narcissists left my life. They left my life. There is one narcissistic person who, through another person, I have to have an interaction with occasionally. And when I last did a very deep healing on my wounds around my boundaries, my selfishness, my anger, I managed to end up not having to interact with this person for 18 months. And I very recently did interact with this person, and it was just so black and white. It was just so, like, I was very grey rock with them, but it was just like, yeah, cool, very non-emotional. And they regarded me with respect for the first time ever. I've never had a conversation with them where I felt respected. I always felt like talked over or like trodden on. But I managed to not see them for 18 months. And then, yeah, in this conversation, I actually felt respected for the first time ever. And that is because by shining that light on those shadows, I was able to see them and express them, and I was vibrating at a level of authenticity. And authenticity is the highest vibration. So I instantly, as soon as I walked in the room with this person, I instantly demanded their respect without even doing anything, because I was vibrating at that frequency of power. Hopefully that makes sense, okay? So when we do this work, this is not just about shifting our mindset and like how we're holding ourselves back. This is spiritual, this is physical, this is emotional, this is mental, this is energetic, okay? So we cannot deny that this is an energy first world, and your body will tell you exactly what you need to know. And one of the biggest things that I see is also trusting this. So again, this is something else to do shadow work on, not just those things that stop you. So as I shared in my little story, when I went for dinner with that friend, I've had that realization that I am being totally authentic and saying to him, this is what I need, this is how I operate. So not just doing the shadow work around like what is stopping me from being authentic, what is stopping me from being in alignment, but we've got the energetic angle on this as well. So it's not just mindset, it's also energetic. So this is kind of where it all comes together. So like the body truth, the energy, and the shadow work. And I actually, like, I cried today when I was in the car driving because Zara Bareilles' Brave came on. And that song got me through my separation and divorce. And to get out of that relationship where I was not seen, I was not heard, I was not respected, I had to do loads of shadow work on that. I had to do so much shadow work. And I cried in the car today, and I was like, I was going down this country road and it was just so free, and I just felt so free, and I just had this moment where I just like went woo because I just felt so free. And I realized like everything that I've gone through, like 3.5 years ago, I felt like my body was a snow globe and someone had picked it up and had shaken it up. Literally had shaken it up. I remember speaking to my mum on the phone, and I was like, I don't know what's going on, Mum, but everything is just shaken up. Like everything is up in the air right now. And she was like, we're in lockdown, don't do anything silly, don't do anything drastic. But every part of my soul and my body was like, get out. I have to get out of this situation. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where I'm going to live, but I have to get out. And that was my authentic truth. And funnily enough, I've got my phone balanced, because I haven't got my phone holder today. I've got my phone balanced on some books, and on the top of the book, I won't move it and show you because I might the phone might fall off, is a phoenix. There is a phoenix right on the top of the book. I hadn't even noticed that. So it was like I had to have this awakening, this rebirth, and I had to leave. And so I had to do so much shadow work around that, because it was like, who am I? If I'm not this like this wife who works in a corporate job, like who am I? I really had to do that deep work around that. Like, I know my soul is calling me. I know my soul is calling me towards this freedom. I know it's like another song that was really big for me around that time was Moana, How Far I'll Go. It's like I can see like the horizon calling me, and I know I need to go, but I don't know where that is going to take me. So to trust that light at the end of the horizon, and to get in my metaphorical boat, I had to do so much work on that in terms of who am I, and like what each step of the way, like what is coming up, what am I feeling, what's moving through me, and what are those parts of myself that I have pushed down for so long. Okay. And with shadow work, we always want to be looking at the 2 layers. So, and this is just something that I have come to understand through my own process with this. So we can look at like, how am I manifesting from the shadow? Or I want to manifest something, I want to create something, but it's not happening. Then we want to look at why we're manifesting from the shadow, like, or in existential kink terms, like how are we getting off on this thing? But level 2 shadow work takes a slightly different angle on this, which is what is going on in the relationships around me, and how am I a mirror, even a subconscious mirror, for these situations. So remember, I'm suddenly getting really warm. I don't know if it's energy or if a heat has come on. Yeah, like everything in your reality is a match for your energy in some way. So this is where level 2 shadow work comes in, because it's like, what are my connections showing me? What are my relationships showing me? What are the people around me showing me? And this was my huge light bulb moment with narcissists, because my ego was so firmly locked in a box somewhere because I was like, love and light to all, like everyone, empathy to everyone, that my ego was like locked in a box at the bottom of the ocean. And so the narcissists were coming in as a magnetic effect to my shadow side. My shadow side was attracting that. So until we look at it, we will just keep attracting these people in until we own those gifts that they are showing us. So as soon as I set better boundaries, as soon as I was more selfish, as soon as I spoke my truth more, all of those connections went away. And this was also what my trauma bond experience was all about as well, was showing me where I needed to be in my power more, where I needed to love myself more. And for so many of us, we're so far over the empathy side of the empathy and ego polarity that we need that little bit of healthy ego, okay? And this is what our shadow self is screaming out for. So I've also healed my hormones through this process as well. I was going through some really difficult times around my cycle, and it was basically just this anger that had never been allowed to come out in myself, because at like age 5 I was told, oh, good girls don't get angry like that, good girls don't do that, Gemma. And so I'd pushed that down. I'd obviously had some kind of tantrum, or probably several tantrums, and I'd pushed that down. As soon as I said, hey, angry part, I see you, you're welcome here, I'm going to give you space. There's a yoga mat with a cushion and a pillow and a baseball bat. Go scream and shake that out. Go hit some pillows. As soon as I gave that space, and this is true for anything. This is true for anything, and we're going to go deep into this in Quantum Femme. This is true for anything. What we usually find is we're giving too much weight to something when we just need to give some attention to a part of ourselves that is very valid and justified. So that part of me that was so angry and so desperately needed to express that anger, the more I was like, that's not acceptable. Let's just ignore that. Let's avoid that. Let's do something else to distract from how I'm feeling. Like, the more I did that, the more that persisted, and the next month would come round and I would have really intense hormones. As soon as I fully saw that part and said, you are totally valid, you can be here, and I'm going to give you space to come out, and I'm going to actually give you space to be angry safely, to safely express that, and to truly feel that, everything shifted and changed for me. And my hormones, like, I've not had such intensity because I gave that part, okay? So this is how this all ties together. So we've got the energy that ultimately leads us. This is an energy first universe. I did a bit of an outrageous post earlier, I know, about like someone saying they're not spiritual. Like, great, you can say you're not spiritual, or you don't want to do spiritual things, that's cool. But this is an energy first universe. So if you are denying energy, or you're gaslighting someone else out of their energy, this was my experience in my marriage, I would get like eye rolls. I'm just going to say it. I'm actually just going to say it. Like, I've, like, if you are denying energy, that's like denying a part of yourself. You're denying a part of the universe, because this is an energy first reality. Like, this cup was once energy before it was created, okay? So everything is energy. And then our bodies are this massive antennae, what's the word? Our bodies are this massive antennae that are constantly receiving information through our senses, and we're getting the claircognizance, and we're going, oh no, it's just a thought, it's just in my mind. And it's like, no, this is information. Like, this information is coming in, and we need to like ground it down and like fully embody this process and give ourselves that trust, and that trust in ourselves, and that trust to our bodies, that like, yeah, I've got you, body. Like, I hear what you're saying. I hear you. This energy feels right. Let's go this way. This energy does not feel right. That's a no. And I've got you, body. I trust you, and I'm going to say no to that, because I'm not going to put you in those situations anymore. Okay? And then if we're not doing that, and if that path is not clear, it's not a clear path of, right, body, yes, no, completely follow my authentic truth, no matter what that looks like, no matter what. Like, I know you cannot get your head around that sometimes. Like, yeah, but what does that mean? I can't control that. Like, what? For me, it was literally like, where the F am I going to live? If I follow that path, if I take that, it's like the red and blue pill. If I take that pill, if I follow that path, I'm going to actually be homeless, because I haven't got anywhere to live. If I leave here, I've got nowhere to live. Okay, so the mind comes in and goes, what the actual F are you doing? So to follow that, and I'm not saying, not to do anything like anything silly or dangerous, but to follow that path regardless. If we can't just keep following that yes and that no, regardless of what our minds are telling us, then this is where we need to do the shadow work, okay? So any questions on this, let me know. And I am so excited. The price is going up in a week for Quantum Femme. I will pop the link in comments. I am so excited to hold space for you for 3 weeks on the Quantum Femme program. And as I've shared, I've opened up today. It will be gone by tonight, one spot to work with me VIP on this. And you're going to get Voxer, one-to-one coaching on Voxer with me throughout the whole program. This came in as a download this morning, and I'm like, okay, let's go, put it out there. I've received loads of messages about it, and it's like, yeah, this is in demand, we're doing this. So I'll pop the link in comments if you'd like to sign up for Quantum Femme. And if you would like to apply for that one-to-one option, there is only one spot. So yeah, if you'd like to apply for that, then just let me know. Obviously, if you've signed up and paid already, then you'll get that. I'll sort out a payment for you so that that'll come off the total amount. So have a wonderful weekend and week, and sending you all lots of love.